Alright, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahawashi, Ba'Hashem Ruach Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. Alright, the name of this one is More Reprobates on the 12 Tribes Chart. And pretty much this just came to my attention. Brother sent me this video. Apparently, the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, so-called West Indians, and so-called Haitians are not the only ones that are teaching that all 12 tribes are so-called Negro only. You have another group of reprobates that are teaching that all 12 tribes are Latino and Native American. This is the type of madness that the Lord said would be being spewed out in these last days. And these are some of the things that we have to suffer. The Apostle Paul said that. I want to get to some of the stuff them guys said, but I want to get this precept real quick. The Apostle Paul said this would happen through the Spirit because he was inspired directly by Yahawashi. And the Apostle Paul, being from the tribe of Benjamin, which are the so-called West Indians, whether they call themselves Jamaican or Trinidadian, from Tobago, the different islands, where Benjamin was dwelling. But this is what the Apostle Paul said, 2 Corinthians 11:4, for if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, another Yahawashi, because what these guys are trying to say is that image that we have of the Lord Yahawashi, going back to the book of Revelation, the first chapter with the woolly hair, and about the Most High, going back to Daniel 7 and 9 about the woolly hair and the dark skin, that those are Hamitic gods, that those are not the true depictions of the Lord and his Son, which is total madness. And these guys here, when you look, this was just put up recently. Now notice, November 19, 2018, exactly about a year ago, they put, is Christ and God described as an African man with Hamitic features? Is God described as an African man with Hamitic features? So these guys are totally bugged out. And then what makes it even worse, what makes their case even weaker, because the all tribes being black is weak, and this all tribes being Latino and Native American Indian is weak as hell also. Both of those are weak arguments. And then when you go to the comment section, the comments are turned off. So this is even worse. And then when you go to these guys' pages, these guys that are these master teachers, you go to their pages, right? And let's go to videos. These guys put this page up, May 22nd, 2018, right? So this was last year. When you go to their videos, if they have 20 videos, that's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 23 videos. So if these guys, if their doctrine was correct, right? First of all, why do you only have 23 videos? Your video's been on here more than about a year and a half. Why do you only have 23 videos? Second of all, why did you disable the comments on the comment section, if you are so sure of your doctrine? But this is the true definition of the word reprobate. Matter of fact, before I read on, let's go to I believe that's in the book of Titus, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Titus 1:16. They profess that they know the Most High, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient. Because these guys are disobedient. These guys are disobedient. And I'm gonna explain some more to you. It says, and unto every good work, reprobate. These guys are reprobate. Now let's look up this word reprobate, because the word reprobate means void of wisdom, void of understanding. So it's adokimos, not standing the test, not approved. Why? Because they don't have the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Properties properly used of metals and coins, right? Because when you go back into the Old Testament, it speaks about reprobate silver. It looks like silver, it looks like gold, but it's not. There's a term called fool's gold. You know, it looks like gold, but it's not. It has the appearance of gold, but it's not. So these guys have the appearance of wisdom, but they don't. They have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. So these guys are a bunch of reprobates. Let's go back. That which does not prove itself such as it ought. Unfit for unproved, spurious reprobate. So pretty much they're reprobate. They're void of understanding. You know, look at that. Worthless, castaway, rejected, reprobate. They're reprobates. These guys are reprobates. Now another thing, when they introduce themselves, right? What this guy is doing is speaking. They introduce themselves, and this guy calls himself Shamar, I believe it is. Now, first of all, Shamar is a Paleo-Hebrew or Lashawan Kodash name that the pronunciation of that Hebrew language goes back to High Priest Ariah, which the Spirit of the Lord gave to him, which we believe that is the proper pronunciation of the language. But he uses the term Shamar, and he called him, I believe he called him Abad or something like that. You know, so pretty much, where did you get that Hebrew from? Then he's talking about One West and how they were going off, and you know how you know, pretty much they're saying that Judah, Benjamin, and Levi are nothing more than Hamites. Yet, if it hadn't been for One West, these guys wouldn't have had a platform to speak on. See? And if One West was so wrong, why do you use the language that according to most, it said was a made-up language by High Priest Ariah? If you were these endowed individuals, you know, with this wisdom, shouldn't you have come up with your own name, or your own language, you know, or use the language of these so-called Jews? These guys are reprobates, man. You know, and bear with me, brothers. I didn't put anything together. I just got a couple of precepts that I have, and I'm just going in the spirit, you know. But these guys are reprobates. So not only do you have reprobates that say that the 12 tribes chart is all so-called black, these guys are saying that the 12 tribes chart is all natives and Latinos are Israelites, you know, and so-called Negroes are Hamites. I mean, the madness just doesn't stop, you know. So let's go back. So we finished with that. Now let's go back to 2 Corinthians 11:4. For if he that cometh preaches another Jesus or another Yahushua, which these guys are clearly teaching, and they're going to pay for that because they're saying that the Most High is and his son are so-called Hamites. When you go back to the beginning, you know, all people on the earth were people of color, different shades of brown. The Hamites are one group, but all people on the planet back then were all people of color. To look like a so-called white man is a curse, a direct curse from the Most High. All right, it's known as leprosy. It's a skin disease. So all people from the beginning were dark-skinned people until Cain went off, and the Lord stripped him of his pigment. That's where he get that mark from, the mark of Cain. So Genesis 2:7, and to show you that these Mormons are a bunch of demons, what they did was they flipped that. They flipped the story of Cain, how the Lord stripped him of his pigment and made him look like a so-called white man. They flipped that and said that the Lord put a skin of blackness on the dark-skinned people, what they called the Lamanites. They were beautiful and white, and then the Lord caused a skin of blackness to come upon them. Like that was a curse. And to have melanin is a gift. You know, it's a gift. And these devils know that. That's why they're always trying to get dark in the sun. So to look like a so-called white man is a curse. But all people in the beginning were dark-skinned people or brown-skinned people. because not everybody is going to be a clone. Not everybody was super charcoal black. You had different shades of brown, different textures of hair. And then when Esau came in, that's when that fluorescent skin started being prevalent. All right. And that's a skin disease called leprosy. Genesis 2:7. And the Lord power formed man of the dust of the ground. The dust of the ground is not white. The dust of the ground is different shades of brown. And the best part of the ground is what? Is the soil, the rich soil where you can actually grow crops from. So the best part of the soil that the Most High created man from was that dark, rich, brown soil. And all people were created at the beginning at the same time. And you had a group of people known as the Adamites, which is where the chosen line of the sons of God came through. The sons of the Most High, which later on would become Israelites, which is the same thing. Saying Yasha'Allah and saying the sons of God is synonymous one with another. So Adam was a dark brown-skinned man. It says, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And this is the one man that the Lord chose and gave him that understanding. Because in process of time, through Adam's line, which was the sons of the Most High, was going to come the nation of Israel. The fathers of the promise being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians 11:4. For if he that cometh preaches another Jesus, which just says, whom ye have not preached, or if ye have received another spirit which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not accepted, you might well bear with him, because we have to suffer this. Because you have a lot of reprobates out there, and we have to suffer their antics. Because back in the days, if you go back into the law, according to the law, you were able to put individuals like this to death. For blaspheming the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But now, we can't do that. So we leave it in the hands of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to deal with these guys. So these guys say that the 12 tribes are all Latino and Native American Indians, and that the so-called Negroes are Hamites. But then they take on the one attribute that came from one West, the same men that they talk shit about, and they use the Lashuan Kodash language for their names. He calls himself Shamar, and I believe he called this guy over here Abad. Those are Lashuan Kodash names. Where did that come from? That's not what the so-called Jews speak. That's not the other dialects of Hebrew that are spoken out there. That's not Aramaic. That's strictly Lashawan Kodash, which was given to the head teacher, High Priest Ariah of One West, the same people you talking shit about. Now let's jump down from there to, matter of fact, let's read the 5th verse. For I suppose I was not the wit behind the very chiefest apostles, but though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. Have I committed an offense in abasing myself, that you might be exalted? Because I have preached to you the gospel of the Most High freely. I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do you service. I'm just trying to jump down to the point. All right, let's go to the 12th verse. But what I do, that will I do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we are. For such are false apostles, see? So these guys are false apostles. Just Quanath and Fopi are not the only false apostles out there. And any other Israelite group that's teaching that the 12 tribes are only Negro. These guys are false apostles. These guys are deceivers. These guys are also devils. Quanath from Fopi and the Fopi group that subscribe to the 12 tribes all being black, they're also false apostles, as well as these guys. Deceitful workers, and these guys are deceitful workers. Because if you were so sure of your doctrine, first of all, why did you disable the comments? Second of all, why do you only have 23 videos on a page that you put up a year and a half ago? What's the matter? The oil run out? Last video they put up was what? 3 weeks ago. Then before that, 2 months ago. 2 months, 3 months, 3 months. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. Then it goes to all the way up to a year. Which this is more like a year and a half. See? Now, and that's all they got. A bunch of videos as Canaanites hate Latinos and natives. You know? Let's see. And then they got a Spanish one. The Latins are Hebrews, Israelites. Which they're right that so-called Latinos and Native American Indians are Israelites. But so are the so-called Negro tribes also that were brought over here in slavery. You know? And they start everything with R. Like, what the fuck, you know? So everything goes everything has to be balanced. So you have these individuals here that are off kilter, off balance, and you have the Israelites that teach that the 12 tribes are all Negro. That's also out of balance. And the Lord said he loves a perfect balance. A false balance the Lord hates. So it says deceitful workers transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushai. So these guys are transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushai and calling Yahushai, the Most High and Yahushai, Hamites. You're going to be dealt with, man. And them wicked Pharisees and Sadducees called Yahushai a Samaritan, which you had a lot of Hamites in different nations among the Samaritans, which they were considered apostates. So you guys got to answer for that. Because the scriptures say that Yahushai came forth from the tribe of Judah. You know? So it says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. You know? And that's what these guys are transforming themselves under. You know? Bringing out these false prophecies. You know? So you got Jake, you got the so-called the Southern Kingdom saying that all tribes are black. You have the Northern Kingdom saying that all tribes are Latino and Native American Indians. You got Esau saying that the 12 tribes are so-called white. So you have a lot of reprobate, demonic teachings out there. You see, but this has to be suffered so, because these are the proving grounds. This is also what's separating the true believers from the fake. There was another precept that had came to mind. Pray it comes back. There was a scripture that just came to mind, you know, because these are the proving grounds. You know, we're going now through the turbulence of these false doctrines. And they're dropping, they're coming out of the woodworks, you know, all different types of stuff, because this is what the Lord's doing, because only the elect are gonna get this knowledge. Oh, that was it. Barakateh, how about Shemashai came back. There's the book of St. John, chapter 10, verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. You see, so the sheep of the Lord are not gonna fall into that. They're not going to fall for the okie doke, so to speak. You know? Let's see. St. John 10:3. To him that the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his face. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. So the sheep of the Lord are not going to fall for this. They're not going to be those men, you know, that are going to be tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine. Because you got all kind of reprobation coming out of the woodwork, man. Just when you thought you heard it all, here comes some more new shit. But this is all necessary, you know, because those that are approved are being made manifest. And when I say approved, I mean approved as far as teaching false doctrines, and as far as being a reprobate. You know, this is nothing but reprobation. And the scriptures say that the 10 tribes were led out of Assyria to come to the so-called Americas, which is the land of Arsareth. Not all 12 tribes. The other 3 tribes that stayed in Jerusalem, so-called Negroes, so-called West Indians, so-called Haitians, they came over here later, which when you read down later in the chapter, it goes into in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, how Judah, Benjamin, and Levi will be brought back over here later on. You know? So there's a lot of madness going on, man. It says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. And that whole, the 12 tribes of Negro is weak, and that whole, the 12 tribes are Latino and Native American Indians are weak. And these guys are weak because here it is, you put up a page on a channel and then you disable the comments. So how serious are you guys really? You got a page that you have up for a year and a half and you only have 23 videos on there. These guys are not serious. You guys are full of shit. The scriptures say that the men of the Lord will not keep their mouth shut. Let's get that real quick. Isaiah 62:6. It says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls. These guys call themselves ancient watchmen. Well, what kind of watchmen are you guys, man? You slacking on, you slacking on your job. You mean to tell me that in a year and a half you only had 23 videos in you? It says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, the Israelites, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. And it's funny that the ones that they're calling false prophets, as they call one Westers, are the main ones on the forefront pushing this truth on day after day through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shai, being inspired by the spirit of Yahweh by Shem Shai to do constant videos over and over and over again, different videos. You know, that's on fire. It's only the camps from One West that's out there pushing this fire out there. The same ones that they're saying are going off. The same ones that say that the 12 tribes chart is false. But had it not been for One West and the 12 tribes chart and the Hebrew that we speak, which is the Lashon Kodash, these guys would have not had a platform to stand on. Because if they had been waiting for them Old Testament dudes to come out, they would have been starving. They would have either been into Islam, Christianity, or Kemet. Or some of them bugged out individuals would have been into Hinduism and all kind of other isms, like Heavy D and others. Tina Turner. But that's how a grimy motherfucker operates. He waits for you to set forth all the work and set everything. Then he's gonna step in after the work is all done. Then he's gonna step in with his shovel and throw it like a little dirt or rock and say nope, this is all wrong. This is how it's supposed to be done. Unbelievable, man. The ungratefulness of these mother floaters. It says, ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. And I'm sorry, brothers. I don't know about y'all, but for having a channel up for a year and a half and only have 23 videos up, to me, that's keeping silent. It says, and give him no rest, the Most High, till he until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Because we, through the Spirit, we're banging, with these videos, until the Lord set Jerusalem back up. Those spirits that have died and are in front of the Lord right now, they're crying unto him day and night. And what do they cry? How long, O Lord, holy and true, will thou not avenge our blood on them that are on the earth? They want retribution, man. They want payback. They want, they want their pound of flesh. And rightly so. And the scriptures say that the souls of the just complain continually. So we're not supposed to give this place no rest. We're supposed to constantly cry out to the Lord. What did the Lord tell Moses? He said, I have heard the cry of my people in Egypt. And that's why he set up Moses to go and lead them out. It's the same thing now. King Solomon prayed to the Lord. It said a prayer that, look, if Israel goes off and they be in a foreign land, and they turn back to you and they pray to you, hear them in heaven and grant unto them their petition, in so many words. That's what the book of 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, and 2 Chronicles, the 6th chapter is all about. You see? So you got pretty much just, like I said, just a bunch of reprobates. Reprobate silver, these guys are. Just like Fopi and Quanath and them, and anybody else that teaches that the 12 tribes are only Negroes, they're a bunch of reprobates. All right, so we done with that. Now, this is why I believe this is all happening, because this goes back to that ancient rival between the two kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Isaiah 11:13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. Because why is Ephraim envious of Judah? Well, let's find out. 1 Chronicles 5:1. Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. So at one point, you had Ephraim that was the head. Because it was supposed to go, the birthright was supposed to go to Reuben, because he was the firstborn. Even Jacob said that. Thou art my firstborn, the might, something along those lines. Can't remember the actual quote. And that was the right of the firstborn to receive all the blessings and the inheritance. But since he defiled his father's bed, it was given to Ephraim. But Ephraim still, he didn't stay on his grizzly. So what happened? The Lord took it away from him. And the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright. For Judah prevailed above his brethren. Why? Because Judah is the tribe that the Lord wanted to rest upon. And it's no coincidence that the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes, the name Judah means Yahweh, which means Yahweh thanks. And they have the name of the Most High upon the name of their tribe. That's not by coincidence. And we all come forth out of the waters of Judah, as it tells us in Isaiah the 48th chapter. So for Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph. So at one time, Ephraim, because Joseph is synonymous with Ephraim was the head tribe. But then it was given to Judah because that's where the Lord wanted it to rest. So that's part of the rivalry. That's part of the back and forth that's going on today. That's why you have, the southern kingdom banging on the northern kingdom, talking about the northern kingdom, are not part of this. And you have the northern kingdom banging back on the southern kingdom, saying that the southern kingdom ain't a part of this. But it's nothing more than a reprobate feast. It's reprobation, man. Reprobates. Isaiah 11:13, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart. Yeah, because once the Lord sets this thing in order, which he's setting it in order right now before Esau's eyes and the world's eyes, the tribes are coming back together. And what's happening is the Lord is breaking apart that animosity. Let's go to Amos 9. But you're still going to have individuals like this, individuals like Fopi and others that say that the 12 tribes are only Negro, to be at odds like this. It's going to be a bumpy road. It's not going to be a nice plain road. But to the elect, it's going to be plain. The elect are not going to be, amazed at this. And these are things that have to happen. Because you're going to have all different types of doctrines out there. And you're going to have those so-called Latinos and Native American Indians that are Israelites that are going to flock to this. And they're going to be led astray. And they're going to fall. They're going to be destroyed. And you're going to have those among the so-called Negroes, West Indians and Haitians that's going to go into the 12 tribes being all black. And they're going to be destroyed. And then you have the middle ground, which is what? That the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians are all the same. That we are the children of Israel. you know. And I knew this through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai before I even came into the truth. I just had that feeling. I just had that belief. I couldn't substantiate it with anything because I really wasn't, into reading books and all that stuff like that back then. But I just knew something in my spirit, just knew that was the truth. And then when I first heard the truth, then it started to make sense. I said, yeah, see, I knew it. So let's go back to Amos 9 and 11. And in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David. So right now what's happening is the house of David is being built. But you have those that are not a part of the house of David. Like individuals like this, individuals like Fopi, Quinath, and others that are not following the true doctrine of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. So the house of David being built, only the ones that the tribes that belong to David will come back, which all 12 tribes, flock to him because that's how the Lord set it up. But then you had those that withdrew. So you have the house of Saul, so on and so forth. It says that is fallen because at one time we fell. Why? Because the Lord said that would happen when we go to the book of Hosea, the 1st chapter. And the 10th verse down. How they said that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not the sons of the living power. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. Something, I'm just merely paraphrasing. It says, and close up the breaches thereof. What is a breach? A breach is a gap. And that gap has to be closed. And how is the Lord closing that gap? By bringing the tribes back together under one banner. So the word breaches is paratazah. It says breach, gap, bursting forth, outburst. Because if you had, let's say you had, like in war, you had the Spartans. They had a certain shield, like the certain way that they would hold their shields and interlock their shields to protect themselves. And if one guy failed with his shield, then the whole thing would have fell apart. So there couldn't be any gaps. The Romans, same thing. They had a way that they would interconnect their shields to fight against the enemy. And if there was any gaps in it, it would break the whole mechanism down. So what's happening right now is the Most High is breaking away all those bursting forths, the outbursts and the breaches and those gaps. The Lord is making the plain way. And only the elect will get it. Breach, broken wall. Because we are compared to what? We are comparable to a house. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2 and 5. Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahweh Shai. So if we are a spiritual house, that means that we are each a stone in that house. And if there's a part of the house that's broken, what happens? It has to be fixed. Otherwise, you get drafts, you get water coming in, you get different types of damages that come in, wild animals coming in out of the, because they don't have the wall to stop them, seeking refuge. And this is why when the second temple was being built and the walls were broken down, you had Israel back then they had a working tool in one hand and they had a weapon in the other. Because the defense of the wall hadn't been built. There was a breach in the wall. So there was a room for the enemy to come in. So this is what's happening right now. The walls are being closed back up. The broken down, think of it as the house of David as a city that was broken down and then it's being built up. First of all, when you're building it back up, you gotta demolish the stuff that ain't no good and build upon whatever's left there that you could work with. Or otherwise you gotta tear the whole thing down and begin from the beginning. And the foundation is Yahweh Shai. See, these guys don't have Yahweh Shai as a foundation. Neither does Fopi, Quinath and any other. They don't have Yahweh Shai as a foundation. Although they say the Lord's name, they don't have his name. They have his name, but they don't have the substance that comes with it. You know, because they're not building upon the right foundation. And the scriptures say that no other foundation can man build than that which is built, you know, which is Yahweh Shai. So let's go back. So let's read that again. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof. So the only ones that's going to come into this thing are the elect that are of the tabernacle or the house of David. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. And it's being built back up, all 12 tribes. And all 12 tribes are not Negroes, and all 12 tribes are not just Negroes, so-called Negroes, and all 12 tribes are not just the Latinos and Native American Indians. For this other group of reprobates over here, you know. So pretty much that's my take on it. You know, I mean, there's much more. Like I said, I didn't have anything prepared. I was just going in the spirit. You know, I put the video in the description box in case you brothers want to hurt your ears listening to this crap. You know, maybe you could pick out something else that, you know, I listened to about 4 minutes and that was it. I had enough, you know. And Jake is, you know, well, bottom line is prophecy. It got to go down this way, you know. So with that, you know, I pray that your brothers have been edified. And to the next time I say, Shalom. Because they don't have the wall to stop them seeking refuge. And this is why when the second temple was being built and the walls were broken down, you had Israel back then that they had a working tool in one hand and they had a weapon in the other, because the defense or